everyone, to this edition of City Chat with City Magazine. My name is Kilee Harmon, and today we have one of my most favorite people in the whole entire world here in the studio with us, Miss Ariana Walker, who is our Miss North Dakota 2011. Hello!
Hi, Kilee.
Wave to the camera. Say hello to everyone.
Hi.
There you go. Okay, so you are Miss North Dakota 2011. That's an incredible honor. A lot of people maybe don't know exactly what that is, but we'll get there. First, tell us, how did you get involved with pageants?
Well, I actually got involved in pageants about 10 years ago. I was sitting in my elementary school at Miller Elementary here in Bismarck, and in walks Miss America 2001, Angela Perez-Baracchio. And seeing her was such an inspiration to me, but it wasn't just seeing her and knowing that she was Miss America, but she talked about bullying. And when I was sitting in the audience as a 10-year-old little girl, I had been bullied so much by the girls in my grade that I said to myself, if Miss America can become Miss America and have been bullied when she was my age, anything is possible for me. And that's the moment when I said to myself, I think I'm going to try to be Miss America. And of course, that led into my very first time ever competing in a scholarship competition. And that was... I look back now and I don't know how on earth I walked away with the title when I was 10 years old because I didn't know what I was doing. It was very new to me, but since then I've come a long way and I really do enjoy competing.
Okay. So how did you become Miss North Dakota? Tell us about that journey in case there's a little girl out there watching and seeing everything and how beautiful you are and wanting to become you one day.
When I got involved with Miss North Dakota, I had actually been Miss North Dakota's Outstanding Teen in 2008. And I went to the Miss America's Outstanding Teen pageant in Orlando, Florida, and meeting some of these girls and competing at a national level and really feeling that recognition, like I had the power to make a difference and to provide change in my community and in my state, it really said something to me. And walking away from that experience, I thought, you know what, I want to do this again. So I said to myself, I will be competing for Miss North Dakota, and I want to be Miss North Dakota one of these days. So that was my goal. I had it set in stone that at one point in time I would be Miss North Dakota, and I haven't stopped dreaming of that dream. And of course, in June of 2011, I was crowned Miss North Dakota. So it was something that happened very early on. I wasn't expecting to win when I was only 20. I thought I would have to compete for a few years because growing up and watching these girls compete, I was competing against some of the contestants that I had picked at one point to become Miss North Dakota. So it was very different competing against them and then among such an esteemed panel of judges and such a great group of girls coming out on top and becoming Miss North Dakota. That was an honor in itself.
So, okay, there are many pageant systems in the state of North Dakota and across the country, and people maybe don't know the differences. So tell us, what are some of those more notorious pageants, and then what makes the Miss America system stand out amongst all of them?
Well, I know that there's the USA system, which is through Donald Trump. Miss America is not associated with Miss USA. We're not associated with the Donald Trump organization. That leads into Miss Universe. A lot of times people get that confused with Miss America and what we're doing. There's also an international pageant, which has some different criteria. And then I know that there's possibly a collegiate high school and some type of teen American system that is in North Dakota. But some of these I haven't had enough experience or knowledge about to inform you on what they all are. But Miss America stands out above the rest because we're a scholarship organization. And we are actually the largest scholarship provider for young women between the ages of 17 and 24. And we've been around for 91 years.
Yes.
So Miss America has a rich history of creating just beautiful women who are not only scholastically driven, but have talent, but they also have inner beauty as well as outer beauty.
Okay, so, what was I going to ask? Oh, okay, you've been competing, like I said, like you have said, for quite some time now. 10 years. A decade. Isn't that crazy to think when you look at it that way, like a decade?
It really is. And something interesting, I will actually be going to Miller Elementary in May to speak to an assembly just like Angela did 10 years ago. Aww. So I have officially come full circle.
Yeah, you have. Now, when is that coming up?
That'll be, I believe, in May. Sometime in May, I'll be speaking to Miller Elementary, and that'll be my moment to say, you know what, I was here 10 years ago and decided that I wanted to pursue this dream, and now I'm here speaking to you, hoping that I will inspire the next Miss North Dakota or even the next Miss America.
Oh, that would be very cool. So now you've been, like you said, involved with pageants for a very long time. What is the one thing that you have gained from pageants that just stands out above the rest?
It would have to be confidence. When I got on stage when I was 10 years old, I was very shy. And even in middle school, I was still competing in pageants, but I was embarrassed to tell people because I didn't know if people had that negative stereotype that went along with pageants. So I kept to myself. I was very shy. And I started to grow into myself, and I started to know that I was important and that I was special, and telling myself that I was special for all of the things that I've been doing helped me gain that inner confidence. And I can honestly say that there has been a huge difference between when I won Miss North Dakota and when I competed at Miss America. I have grown so much in just those 6 months, and it's because I went to Miss America competing as someone who felt like I would be a great representative for this organization, but when it all comes down to it, I feel like a Miss America, and that's where my journey has really taken me.
So now you had talked about you speak to the students across the state. What are some of the things that you talk about to them?
Well, when I go into the schools, I speak about my platform, which is the Ronald McDonald House Charities, and then I also speak to them about how I got involved in Miss America, and I educate them on what Miss America is so that they know that it is about scholarship and we don't just focus on beauty. And then when I go into the high schools, sometimes I like to talk about bullying and teen issues, just because I have 1 year to spread as many messages as I possibly can, and I want to be able to create that change and make that difference. So knowing my demographic and who I'm speaking to, I can really target the issues specific to that age group and talk to them about it, and hopefully inspire people to make a difference in their own lives.
Now, you talked a little bit about the Ronald McDonald House and a platform. Okay, first, what is a platform in pageant terms?
Platform?
So, I mean, because it's so funny because, a lot of people ask me, like, what is a platform? Well, a platform is da-da-da-da-da. So they wonder, what is a platform? And then why did you choose the Ronald McDonald House?
Well, again, what makes Miss America special? We have scholarship, we have talent, and we have this thing called a platform. And what a platform is it's something that each contestant feels very passionately about. It's something that she has either been personally affected by or an issue that she wants to speak out against. When I decided to choose the Ronald McDonald House Charities, it was because when I was 16 years old, I went to a fundraiser and I was just volunteering, and I spoke to a lot of the families that the Ronald McDonald House Charities have helped, because what we do is we house these families who have seriously ill or injured children in the hospitals. And speaking to these families, they told me so many things about how their physical therapist had helped them, their pediatric physical therapists. And it was almost like a sign from God telling me that there is something that you need to learn about pediatric physical therapy. And it actually led me toward my future career, which will be physical therapy, specializing in pediatrics. So I chose the Ronald McDonald House not just because I truly believe in their mission, but because they kind of helped me find my future career. And I will probably go back to the Ronald McDonald House and be working with families who are working with my charity for years to come.
So now they actually just came out with this mobile thing. Tell us, what is this?
Yesterday we released and finally had the ribbon cutting ceremony for the CareMobile, which is, we call it Bridging the Dental Gap. So what it is they call it a truck. They don't like to call it a truck, but if you want to envision it, it's a large truck. And what we do is we have 2 dental chairs in the truck. We also have a receptionist area, and it'll be fully stocked with dental hygiene tools, utensils, all these different types of equipment that you would see in your dentist's office. And it will be servicing Western North Dakota, so we will drive all the way around Western North Dakota, servicing children whose families cannot provide them with dental care.
Oh, wow. So you guys starting in the Bismarck area, and then where are you guys all going?
I believe right now we're just doing some test runs in the Bismarck area, and that will be kind of our kickoff, is to start in the Bismarck area, but hopefully we want to be able to serve Western North Dakota. That is our goal. And let me tell you, the bus is fantastic. I got to take a tour through it. Ronald was at the ribbon cutting yesterday.
Ronald was actually there.
I got to see Ronald.
I'm sorry, he's more of a celebrity than you, hon.
He really is. I think the kids were more excited about Ronald than the girl with the crown on her head. But he was wonderful, and I got to talk to him about, how it feels to make an impact on a child's life, because he is such an icon. And the bus is decorated with everything Ronald McDonald House, and it'll just be such a great way to help these kids and to get our message into the communities.
Okay, so going back to the Ronald McDonald, because I don't know if we actually really said, what exactly is the Ronald McDonald House, so people know?
The Ronald McDonald House provides a home away from home for families who have seriously ill or injured children in the hospitals.
Okay.
So what we do is not only provide a house for these families, but we also help them because when you have a child in the hospital, it can be a very stressful time for these families, not only financially, but emotionally also. So we open our doors and say, come on in, drop all your worries at the door, we'll take care of you. So instead of having to worry where their next meal will come from or if they don't have enough time to do the laundry, we take care of that. We have lots of volunteers who help out around the house so that they can focus at the task at hand, which is helping their child.
Okay. So now you guys also being a Miss North Dakota and you're traveling across the state, you have to run into some people though who say pageants aren't a good thing or are very negative. So what do you say to those people when you meet them and they come up to you?
Usually the first question I get asked is, well, when did you start? And then, of course, when I tell them I started when I was 10 years old, they get this shocked look on their face and they ask if it was my idea. And I said, I've never been pushed into competing in pageants. It was always my decision. I had to beg my parents to let me compete in my very first pageant because my dad said absolutely not. Mm-hmm. He didn't want me to compete. My mom was kind of iffy at the moment because pageants have that negative stereotype. And the problem we're facing now is there's been so many reality shows that showcase just these awful parents and really pushing their children very hard into these pageants, putting them in hair pieces, spray tanning them, putting fake teeth in. I mean, these girls are 5 years old.
And they look like they're 30.
And they look like they're 30. They really do. I've never been pushed into a pageant. I've never been pushed into any activity that I didn't want to do. I've always wanted to do pageants. I've always loved doing pageants. And I actually didn't start competing in pageants and wearing makeup until I was in about the junior teen division. I think my mom allowed me to wear some eyeliner and mascara.
Which would be the 7th and 8th grade.
Which would be 7th and 8th grade. But of course, as a 7th grader, I was already wearing makeup and applying my own makeup. So what I would normally wear to school, I just wore on stage. And the first time I applied false eyelashes was starting to compete in the Miss Division.
Which is for 12th grade through 24 years of age.
Exactly. So no fake teeth, no spray tans. I mean, of course, I got a little bit more tan for the Miss America pageant, but that's just something you got to compete with. My girl who's from Hawaii, and she's extremely bronzed, and I looked albino standing next to her.
Like the white beacon.
Yes.
So, okay, now going across the state of North Dakota, being a volunteer, that's what the Miss America system and the Miss North Dakota Scholarship Organization is all about. I'm losing my train of thought today, and I just don't know why. What has been your favorite story that you have gathered from meeting all of the kids that you've met?
Oh gosh, there's been so many. There a few moments stick out in my mind only because I've been doing this again for so long already that there's so many moments that I will never forget that have really touched my heart. When I went to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital in Fargo, I was told that all the beds were full, and that worried me because I was wondering if I was going to come into this situation where I'm in a hospital with a crown and a sash, I'm perfectly healthy, and I'm meeting these children who aren't as fortunate as I am. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how I was going to respond and if it was going to hit a nerve and I was going to break down or if what was going to happen. But when I went in there, these kids, they had such a great spirit. You could hardly tell that they were sick. I mean, they really were incredible. They were telling me, I get to go out of the hospital. I'm only here for a week, and then I get to go home. They were giving me hugs. They were telling me stories. And the best part about going into hospitals, whenever I go into a hospital and I meet with the children, is people are always surprised that I get down to their level. I'm not afraid. I'm in a dress and I'm in heels. I get down to their level. I crouch down and I talk to them about their favorite cartoons, their favorite Disney characters. I'm a kid at heart, so I have 2 nephews and I've watched the Disney Channel lots of times. I know what's relevant in these children's minds. So I love talking to them and I love the reaction I get from the adults in the room because they don't realize that I can connect to them that quickly.
And that you really do care.
And of course that I really do care, that all of these stories that I take home with me. And that's another great thing. Whenever I travel and speak to students about the Ronald McDonald House, I will always get 1 or 2 people, whether it's an adult or whether it's a student, who will come up to me and say, I stayed there, or my parents had to stay there because I was in the hospital. So just seeing across the state how our organization has affected people and hearing those stories, I love those stories. And I always ask for people's contact information because I want to know more and I want to keep up with them and make sure that everything's going fine with their families. I mean, I really do care about the people that I meet, and that's part of the experience, is meeting these people and coming away with an even bigger appreciation for what you have.
So now, again, being a volunteer and doing all of this, I don't think a lot of people realize that, I mean, that you volunteer for this. I mean, you are a service leader for the state of North Dakota because you get paid for some things, but not many things. I mean, tell us, how has that been? I mean, have you been able to educate people about that? And what do they say to that when they realize, yeah, I basically volunteer all my time?
I've been able to educate people on what I do and why this is so important to me. And of course, people are always surprised to see that I volunteer a lot of my time, and not a lot of people call me. I'm usually the one, and of course my mom has been a godsend because she always contacts people and helps me get my foot in the door with schools and hospitals, but I contact them.
Okay.
And usually when I'm doing a charity event, I don't ask for anything in return because they're trying to raise money for their own charity, so it's hard to pay my fee. So I usually just say, don't worry about paying me. I go for the experience. And that's a big part of it. When I go into schools, there's a small fee, but usually they're okay with paying that.
Well, and it's basically just to cover your gas.
It basically is. I mean, the necessities. I'm going to have to, of course, I stop at McDonald's all the time, but I do eat healthy.
I was going to say, you don't look like you stop at McDonald's.
I do eat healthy. They've got lots of healthy options, but, I've got certain things that I need to take care of course, the gas and of getting some food and possibly staying overnight if I have a longer stay or if I have more speaking engagements to do throughout the week. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, I've got a little bit more expenses that I take on personally, but a lot of my stuff is volunteer. And I've put in a lot of time and many, many hours and lots of miles across the state of North Dakota, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Oh, cool.
And I keep telling people, I think I've got about 138 days left. And they look at me and they're like, oh, you're already counting down to give up your crown? And I'm like, no, I'm counting down the days so that I know that I have very limited time being Miss North Dakota to make a difference and to make a change and to do all of the things that I want to do as Miss North Dakota. Because as soon as I got back from Miss America, I said, okay, what's next?
Yes.
What can I possibly do in my state? Because I don't want to look back at my year and think, oh, shoot, I should have done this or I could have done more. Mm-hmm. So I've got about 138 days left to hit as many schools as possible, to meet with as many students, to speak to as many service groups, to sing the national anthem as many times as I possibly can. All of these things that I want to keep checking off my list.
Well, you better keep hustling that. No. So, okay, again, you just got back from Miss America. What was that experience like?
Miss America is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It is something that
I got chills.
Yeah, only 53 women truly understand what it's like to go through the Miss America week.
And 53 women out of 14,000 that compete at all the local competitions to get to a state competition to make it to Miss America. I want people to realize that, because you are one of 53 and the 53 out of 14,000.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And when you look at it, because there were so many people that competed, you had a better chance of winning Miss America than you did of actually coming to Miss America, because there were so many girls that competed. Mm-hmm. So being there and competing at Miss America was a gift. It really is something that we all cherished, we all worked very hard for, because we want to go there and have a good experience. No one wants to come away with a bad experience, and I definitely didn't. I had the time of my life. I got as much sleep as I possibly could,
which had to be like 0.
It was really difficult to get a lot of sleep, but I took care of myself. I stayed healthy. I never got sick. I never felt like I was overstressed. I had a very great sense of calm coming into the week. I felt prepared, and I knew that at that point there was nothing more that I could have possibly done. It's like cramming for a test. You can't study 5 minutes before the test and think that those 5 minutes are going to do anything else.
Yep.
So going into the week, I just had fun, knowing that I was prepared and that whatever happened was supposed to happen. And as soon as the judges are picked, I really feel like the Miss America has already been chosen, because the judges will tend to lean towards the person that they feel most comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And they always say a different set of judges, a different Miss America every time.
It's true. It's a crapshoot, because you never know what's going into the judges' minds. Now, speaking of judges, what was it like? Okay, it's Kris Jenner. That's right. Kardashian's mom, woohoo. What was that like, in walking into the judging room and seeing her?
Kris Jenner was actually very nice. I heard from some of the other girls that she didn't talk a lot during their interview. She talked quite a bit during my interview. I mean, she was very interested in what I was saying, and a lot of the judges were. Terry Polo asked me quite a few questions. Lara Spencer asked several questions. She was very involved. Chris Powell, absolutely gorgeous. Hard to look at him and get a question and remember exactly what the question was, because you just want to look at him. And then, of course, Mark Ballas asked me my very first question, and the first thing that went through my mind is, oh my gosh, it's Mark Ballas.
That's what I mean. I mean, these are like celebrities that you see on TV day in and day out, and then you're in the room with them for 10 minutes and you have to answer everything they ask you.
Yes, but it's also so much fun because you go in there and, you stand in front of them, and Mark Ballas looked at me and he goes, okay, I'm going to ask you your first question. And then I said to myself, all right, this is my interview. This is my time. This is not about the judges. It's not about whether they're celebrities or not. I'm the celebrity. They're asking me questions because they want to get to know me.
Very good way
so
of going.
He asked me my first question, and immediately I snapped right into it. And it was just like a normal mock interview. They were normal people. And then, of course, you walk out the door and you're like, oh, my gosh, I just got asked a question by Kris Jenner.
Nice. Nice.
But other than that, it was really funny. There was a moment in my interview when Kris Jenner and Lara Spencer asked a follow-up question at the same time. They used the same words. So they're both talking at the same time. And Kris Jenner yells across the room and points her finger over at Lara Spencer and says, Jinx, you owe me a soda. And everyone started laughing. So it was a very lively group of judges, and you could tell that even though they were taking their job very seriously, that they were having fun. And the interview was very personality driven. They wanted to get to know the real you. And that was part of the fun.
Well, that's great because they want to pick a good, Miss America.
Yes.
Who was someone they felt like they got to know. And so now Miss Wisconsin is our current Miss America. What was she like during the week?
Miss Wisconsin, I didn't get a lot of a chance to really get to know her because we were in several different groups, so we would rehearse differently. And because she's at the end of the alphabet, we always got split up into groups of about 10 or 11. And I was in the middle of the alphabet, so I got to know the girls that were close to North Dakota as far as alphabetical order. But she is a wonderful, wonderful representative for this organization. She's very into social media, so she's always on Twitter. You can always follow what she's doing. She'll always post updates. You can really see that she's enjoying her year, and she has a really good platform. It's really interesting, and I think she's very goal-driven. So I know that she's going to do great things.
And what again is her platform then?
I believe her platform, I'm not sure of the official name, but it's about mentoring children and young teens who have parents who are in prison or have been in prison. Okay. Because she went through that experience when she was a senior in high school. Wow. Her father was incarcerated. So,
that's got to be crazy.
So yeah, she had a really interesting platform, and it was one of those things where I really hope that one of these days I can reconnect and really get to know her, because I think she's an incredibly fascinating young woman.
So now you said you're kind of with the states that are close to North Dakota in the alphabet. And so
yes.
Who would you say is like your most favorite state now?
Well, there are 3 girls that I absolutely love. Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. We got to be such close friends, and I'm 5'4". I am the tallest one of the 4 of us.
Oh my God, because they all look way tall on stage.
They do. We all look really tall on stage. It's a camera trick, of course. But North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania are all about 5'2".
Wow.
So amongst the 4 of us, I'm the tallest, and I feel, of course, great standing next to him, except for when we're in heels. But they have become my closest friends, and I don't think I go a day without getting multiple text messages from those girls.
Oh, that's awesome. So now Oklahoma, she actually was the first runner-up.
Yes, she was, and my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was really hoping that she would become Miss America, because I think she is just absolutely deserving of the Miss America title, as were so many girls that competed. But when it came down to Betty and Laura, oh my gosh, I was sweating. I was really hoping that it would be Betty, but of course Laura walked away with the title. But Laura is such a great representative. Any one of those girls would have been phenomenal.
There
as a
were
Miss America.
amazing women, because I got to come watch you during the whole week, and they were amazingly talented women. So definitely very tough competition, which means any single one of them would have done a great job.
Exactly. And when I didn't make the top 15, looking around the group of women, I said to myself, I am surprised. There was a handful of girls in the top that weren't in the top 15 that I thought would have been in the top 5.
Oh, wow.
So knowing the amount of girls that were such high caliber girls, it was a tough competition. It really, really was. And when it all came down to it, I think that the crown went on to the right girl.
Well, and you have done such a great job representing North Dakota, so definitely you are our Miss America.
Thank you.
Now, you do give up your crown this June in Williston, because at the Miss North Dakota Scholarship Pageant, and another thing I don't think a lot of people realize is that there's all these different age divisions when it comes to the Miss America. You have the Little Miss, the preteen, junior teen, and then now you've got the Miss division. That's when you're going to give up your title. How can girls of all ages become involved with the Miss North Dakota Scholarship Organization if they want to one day become Miss North Dakota?
The best way to get involved is if you go online, you can go to www.missnorthdakota.org, and then also, Kylie, give me the website for the youth one.
ndyouth.com.
ndyouth.com. There it is. So there's two websites that you can go to. It has pictures of all the local competitions, all the girls that have won. You can really see the atmosphere that we provide with these girls, and you can see that these girls are not glitz pageant girls.
No.
These are real, down-to-earth girls. They go through an interview process. I've had the honor of helping some of them with their interview, and they're so intelligent. I mean, they're 6th graders, 7th graders, and I cannot believe the confidence that they already have, and it's because they've been competing since they were so young. I don't think it's a bad thing. Everyone thinks that starting when you're young is awful. I think the younger you start, you really grow into yourself and you find that inner confidence.
I agree. You do it much faster than other people would.
You do. And some of these girls, I can see them going on to do great things. And I could probably give you 10, 20 names of the girls that I think will probably be Miss North Dakota one of these days.
One of these days it'll happen. And
Yes.
again, you give up your crown in June. And thank you so very much for coming on this edition of City Chat with City Magazine. And it's always a pleasure to have you, Ariana. And I've seen you come up through the years, and a proud little, kind of like feel like your mom in a sense, even though I know I'm so not. But it's wonderful having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again, everyone, for watching this episode of City Chat with City Magazine. Make sure you head to the website at thecitymag.com, where you can download the entire issue with Carrie Warburg-Block, who is the CEO of Earthkind, for the February cover. And then you can also watch past episodes of City Chat with City Magazine. Have a good day.